politics, culture, chaos. This is your daily dose of sanity. The Rich Zeoli podcast starts now.
President Trump sending in Tom Homan, the man himself, to Minneapolis to restore calm, to restore order, to be the adult in the room. What does this say about the other officials that were in the process of saying things over the weekend that made even conservatives angry? Let's talk about it. Here we go.
Let's go.
Hopefully you survived Snowmageddon, Snowpocalypse. I've been shoveling nonstop, and I'll be shoveling after the show today, but grateful that you're here. Tom Homan. I have such great respect for this man. Let's not forget, Obama gave him a medal, and the media at one time praised Tom Homan as being just such an absolute patriot, dedicated to going after people who are in this country illegally. He was a hero. Obama designated him like an actual hero. And then, of course, Trump appoints him to be the border czar, and then suddenly everybody hates the guy's guts. But he's respected, and he knows what he's doing. And he's smart enough to get the facts and then to comment appropriately. Now, a lot has changed in just the last couple of hours. So the Caroline Leavitt just wrapped up the White House press briefing. And by the way, we are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and we'll be streaming live on Rumble starting tomorrow, knock on wood. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of the podcast. Appreciate it very, very much. A lot has changed in just the last couple of hours. So this is a lot of breaking news. First of all, what you need to know is that Governor Tim Walz, Tampon Tim himself, has spoken to the president, and the president saying they had a productive call. The Truth Social statement by President Trump, which we'll put on the screen for you, says the following. Governor Tim Walz called me with a request to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a very good call, and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength. I told Governor Walz that I would have Tom Homan call him, and that we are looking for any and all criminals that they have in their possession. The governor very respectfully understood that, and I will be speaking to him in the near future. He was happy that Tom Homan was going to Minnesota, and so am I. We have such tremendous success in Washington, D.C., Memphis, Tennessee, New Orleans, Louisiana, and virtually every other place that we have touched, and even in Minnesota. Crime is way down. But both Governor Walz and I want to make it better. President Donald J. Trump. Posting that on Truth Social not too long ago. So Walz calls the president up. He realizes now that it's out of control in Minnesota. You have these organized groups using Signal chat. So Signal is an encrypted messaging app service, and they're using this Signal chat to communicate with each other as they try to disrupt ICE and make life a living hell for ICE, by the way. I mean, they're protesting outside their hotels to keep them from being able to sleep. They're getting in their faces. They are trying to be as aggressive as possible with ICE. Now, this crossing a line from protest, no question about it. Peacefully protesting, peacefully assembling, and then getting in their face and trying to stop them from doing their job, not the same thing. It's not the same. Okay, one is constitutionally protected, the other is not. And intelligent, reasonable people understand the difference. But what's happening in Minnesota is you don't have the local and state units helping the feds. So the feds are all on their own. And the state and the local guys are just stepping back and doing absolutely nothing. In many ways, they're even allowing the protesters to get close to ICE. And that, of course, puts people in harm's way. Now, there's that. There's that aspect of what happened. Then there's the shooting of this guy over the weekend, which results in his death. He was carrying. He had a permit to carry. It's an open carry state, and he was carrying. Initially, some of the comments made by Kristi Noem and Kash Patel and Greg Bovino, who's the head ICE guy, were wrong. I mean, they said the guy was there to cause mass casualties to law enforcement. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. And the comments about bringing a gun to a protest, listen, you're allowed to bring a gun to a protest if the state allows it. In this case, it does. Open carry or concealed carry. Like Dana Loesch, for example, was all over TV this weekend, and we'll play some clips throughout the show for you today. She is a former NRA spokesperson, nationally syndicated radio host. I filled in for her many times, so it was an honor to do so. And she was saying, look, I bring my gun to protests all the time. You know, Democrats try to do things like in New Jersey, for example. After the Supreme Court said you have a right to carry, after the New York State Rifle and Pistol Club case was handed down, the Supreme Court said, yeah, you have a right to carry. They tried to pass all kinds of insane restrictions on where you can carry. Parks and churches and libraries and government buildings and yes, even protests and assembly. Now, the court cases that followed after that struck those down and said this is ridiculous, it's burdensome, way too burdensome, but that's what Democrats tried to do. So what you don't want to have happen is you don't want to have conservatives, Republicans, people in the administration coming out and saying you can't bring a gun to a protest. You can't bring a gun to a peaceful assembly, to a demonstration, because that's what Democrats want. Democrats want you to just leave your gun at home and never be allowed to take it out. So that's number one. Now, the White House, smart today, had Caroline Leavitt reiterate that the president, you'll find no greater supporter of the Second Amendment than President Trump, and that you absolutely have a right to carry if the state allows it in your state, and every state should allow it now after the Supreme Court case. You should absolutely be allowed to carry as long as you have your permit, as long as you are registered, like this man was in Minnesota. So you can. And why wouldn't you, by the way? Because look, criminals can show up at protests. Criminals can show up at parks. They can show up at churches. They can show up at libraries. They can show up at all these places. So of course you should, if you're a gun owner, think about carrying in these places. Of course. You can't then get in the way of law enforcement, though. Now, the details of this shooting are being investigated. I think after the initial reaction, when people in the administration came out and passed judgment and decided what happened, they're walking that back now. The president himself has said, we're going to be looking at this from every angle. We're going to be examining the shooting and figuring out what happened here. That is the right approach. You want to get it right. You don't want to necessarily be the first one out of the gate. If you noticed over the weekend, for example, I was posting a lot on social media, mostly related to the storm and the fact that Zohran Mamdani is a commie jerk who canceled the snow day for the kids and making them do virtual learning, which I think is ridiculous. By the way, it wasn't working out so well. Kids had all kinds of problems getting online. It's worse for parents, too. I mean, if parents are home and they're working and they got to deal with the kids being home, and then they got to be the IT department to help the kids get online for virtual schooling. No, give the kids a snow day. Let kids be kids. You can skip one day of public school indoctrination. Like, it's okay. You can even make some money going around and shoveling driveways and sidewalks. But of course, that would be capitalism, and Mamdani hates capitalism, so he doesn't want that being done either. So he's making the kids sit down in front of a computer all day, as we're always constantly saying our kids are in front of screens way too much, and they are. So let kids be kids and have a freaking snow day. Okay, so I was not posting about the shooting that happened in Minnesota over the weekend because I don't need to be one of those people right away declaring what I don't know and going on social media and making comments. I want the evidence to come out, all the angles looked at from the various body cams, public footage, all of it. You make your determination, you figure out whether or not the officer acted appropriately or not. That's what you should do. That's what everyone should do. Take a freaking breath and let the investigation play out and unfold. That's what should happen. Here's what should not happen. What should not happen are people in government coming out and saying, well, if you bring a gun to a protest, what do you expect? You're just asking for it. No, you're not asking for it, actually. And law-abiding gun owners are absolutely entitled to bring a gun as long as they have the permit and the paperwork, whatever else the state requires of them, because every state's different. If you get a concealed carry permit in New Jersey, for example, you should be allowed to go to a protest with a gun. Well, why not? Of course. And just because there's federal law enforcement there doesn't mean that you're a target and the government should be allowed to kill you. But I'm not saying that's what happened here. Notice I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm saying that it's ridiculous to make the assumption that if you bring a gun to a protest, when you're a law-abiding legal gun owner, that you are then subject to being killed by federal law enforcement. Because those were some of the comments that were made over the weekend. I want to play up a screenshot for you. Bill Easley put a post up. And then the Gun Owners of America, this is the graphic here, responding to that post, okay? So if you can see the post, what it basically says is, it says, we're the Gun Owners of America saying, we're saddened by the loss of what happened in Minnesota. And we don't like what Bill Easley said. Federal agents are not highly likely to be legally justified in shooting concealed carry licensees who approach while lawfully carrying a firearm. The Second Amendment protects Americans' right to bear arms while protesting, a right the federal government must not infringe upon. And that's exactly correct. They must not infringe upon that. And it is a damn shame that Bill Easley put out the statement that he put out with the gun, a picture of the gun, and saying what he said in this graphic, which is basically like, you know what, if you show up at a protest with a gun, like, you know, good luck. No, that's not okay. Now, I'm not suggesting that then if you have a gun and you're a legal gun owner, that if you get in the face of law enforcement, if you impede what they're doing, that somehow that's okay. I'm not making that assumption. What I'm saying is that people made the assumption that because the guy had a gun, he had done something wrong. That's not the case. So there's two separate things. Two things can be true at the same time. You could be a law-abiding gun owner, go to a protest with your gun, which is an absolutely constitutionally protected right. Then you can cross a line, and then you can do something that you're not supposed to do, in which case then the fact that you have the gun may make law enforcement very agitated and nervous and create a very tense situation. That may be what happened here. And again, I'm not saying the shooting's justified. I'm not saying it's not justified. I'm saying let's have the investigation. But I want to make it very clear that you have a right to bring a gun to a protest if you have the proper paperwork and everything else. And I was really annoyed with so many people on my side of the aisle over the weekend who seemed to forget that and seemed to forget all the work we've done to get concealed carry, open carry in this country for people to be able to leave their home with their firearm to protect themselves and their family and their community if necessary as well. And suddenly it seemed like that right was going out the window. Now, the good news is, as of today, at the White House press briefing, Caroline Leavitt reiterated that right and reiterated that the president stands by that right, and that's good as well. Here's a clip of Dana Loesch, who was on CBS News, again, nationally syndicated radio host, former NRA spokesperson, talking to Vlad Dutier. Take a listen.
So Alex Preddy, as you know, had a legal right to carry that weapon, but federal officials like Kristi Noem seem to question why he turned up armed at the protest. You yourself have said that you've gone to protest and you have been armed yourself. When you heard what she said,
Correct.
What was your reaction to that?
My first thought was I feel like the administration needs to be a little careful with language, and language is incredibly important. I mean, we're not nitpicking and trying to police language for some sort of gatekeeping role. It's because certain words invoke certain statutes and certain penalties as a result of that. So we have a duty to be very, very careful with the language that we use. So I wish that Secretary Noem and others would be aware of that, because simply approaching law enforcement with a firearm isn't indicative of ill intent, nor is it a crime. And as you accurately said, I have over the years, many years, have been armed at protests, both concealed carry and open carry. I have been right in the front-face presence of law enforcement while open carrying. But there is a difference, though, and I really want people to pay attention to this. At no point was I ever detained, nor was I shot at, or was I involved in any kind of altercation with law enforcement, because I did not insert myself into any kind of federal investigation. And that's what's really important here. There's a difference between carrying by law enforcement, and there's a difference between carrying while in commission of felonious activity. And according to U.S. statute, this is federal law, you cannot insert yourself or impede law enforcement operations. And I'm sure that this investigation is going to uncover a lot of questions. I mean, we all have a lot of questions about this. We've all seen the videos. We've all seen the angles. But there is a difference. I would never carry and then impede official law enforcement investigation, because then it kicks off this domino effect of potentially tragic circumstances that I think everybody wants to avoid.
Bingo. Nailed it. Exactly right. That's exactly correct. Exactly right. So if you're packing at a protest, that's fine. If you're packing at a protest and then you impede law enforcement, not fine. And the fact that you're packing now raises the temperature, escalates it to such a degree. And the question is that what happened here? Is that why this man is now dead? Is that what happened? Is that the temperature gets elevated to such a degree and then there's a shooting? We don't know the answer to that yet. We don't know the answer to that. But what we do know is that you have the right to carry at a protest. You have the right to have your Second Amendment rights along with your First Amendment rights at the same time. You don't have to leave your gun home because you're going to protest your government. I mean, that's a ridiculous, ridiculous notion. But if you're protesting your government, that's one thing. If you're getting in the way of your government carrying out their actual congressionally prescribed responsibilities, and you're getting in their face and you're getting in their way and you're impeding them, well, no, that's not okay. And if you happen to have a gun, and if you then get the pressure, the testosterone, the temperature to such a degree that it becomes a fatal situation, and that's what now we have to look at. So I hope that clears up that, because I think it was a very, very important point to clear up. And again, I'm glad the White House now is saying we're going to investigate this. We're going to look at this at every angle. The amount of people in this day and age of social media that have to come out and immediately think that they know what happened. And as long as you've known me, and if you're new to the podcast, and thank you for being here because it's growing every day. This is week number 3. So as we're in week number 3, we're already now expanding and growing. And thank you. And subscribe to the Rich Zeoli podcast wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button and like it, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, which you may be watching right now. Make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. Please do that. I would appreciate it. We would appreciate it very, very much. But you know me, I'm just not one of those guys. I don't need to go online right away and make my judgments and make my assumptions. The facts will come out. And when the facts come out, then we'll know what happened. And that's important to do. But look, I defended Kyle Rittenhouse, who was walking around with a gun at a protest. So I'm certainly not going to be like one of those guys that then turns around and it's like, oh, well, in this case, then no, it's not okay to bring a gun to a protest. No, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. As long as you're not getting in the way of law enforcement doing their job. And we don't know for sure if this guy was or not, but it certainly seems like there's a lot to point to, at least that he may have been part of a very organized effort to do that. We don't know yet. We'll find out. But there is a complex far left network that helped put Alex Preddy in harm's way, including encrypted chats and street alerts. And this is from the New York Post. The skirmish that led to Saturday's fatal shooting of an agitator by Border Patrol agents in Minneapolis and the response that followed were driven by a complex network of far left organizations with a wide range of causes, according to a Fox News digital investigation. A coordinated web of encrypted chats, street alerts, tracking of ICE quote-unquote abductors in a sophisticated database reviewed by Fox News Digital shows that agitators were already mobilized by the scene where 37-year-old Alex Preddy was killed minutes before any shots were fired. ICE and Border Patrol agents were there to arrest an illegal immigrant criminal, and Preddy and others were there outside a donut shop to meet them as part of a strategic pattern of organized interference with law enforcement operations. Okay, so remember what I've been saying. It's okay to go to a protest with a firearm as long as it's a legal firearm. It's not okay to do what this man may have been doing, which is to organized interference with law enforcement operations. That's not okay. Not okay. So again, two things can be true at the same time. If he was just there protesting and had his gun in an open carry state like Minnesota or a concealed carry state or whatever the state, and he had his paperwork, that's fine. That's okay. That's 100% okay. It's a right we should protect and respect, and we should never, ever put statements out. And I'm glad the Gun Owners of America and the NRA both came out and said, like, no, it doesn't mean that you're likely to get shot by law enforcement. Like, no, absolutely not. BS, no. But if you're part of an organized effort to interfere with law enforcement operations, no, that's not okay either. See, this is what I mean about two things can be true at the same time. It's why I hope you like this show. I hope you like this podcast, because I try to give a little depth, a little nuance, not just clickbait, but actually try to look at things, maybe go a little deeper, try to look at all the different angles and avenues. And the fact that you're interfering with law enforcement while you're carrying, while you have a firearm, can be really problematic, not just for yourself, but for law enforcement as well. And then your rights go right out the window there. And then if you get into an altercation and a scuffle with law enforcement, well, you know, this is where things go very, very bad. And as the evidence comes out, as the camera angles are reviewed and the determination is made, did that officer believe his life was threatened, the life of other agents was threatened? Well, then he may be absolutely justified in the shooting. That's what the investigation will tell us, 100%, no doubt about it. But if you're going to interfere, whether you're packing or not packing, you're asking for trouble. And this organized effort that's doing this group, it's a national network of socialist, communist, and Marxist-Leninist cells in the United States, according to the Fox News digital investigation, leveraged the tragic fatality into a nationwide protest operation. Now, you could absolutely be upset about what happened, but the network's real-time rapid response using short sensational video clips and emojis as weapons of propaganda offers a window into the disciplined logistics, messaging, and coordination of far-left warriors fomenting insurgency-like confrontation with authorities. So that's what they want. They want to push people into these situations, and it's very, very dangerous. Now, Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, was on with Benny Johnson talking about this very issue of these encrypted signal messages and the groups that are behind him. This is what they said.
Sorry, Rich, I've let you down.
Oh, that's okay, Jared. We can pull it up in a second. I'll keep reading. The encrypted signal messages obtained by Fox News Digital in real time show that anti-ICE rapid responders were actively tracking, broadcasting, and summoning backup around federal agents outside Glam Doll Donuts on Nicollet Avenue, where the shooting happened. Local rapid responders made at least 26 entries into a database called Minnesota ICE Plates in the critical hours before and after the killing, documenting the license plate numbers and details of alleged ICE vehicles they claim to see around Nicollet Avenue. And this is what we're seeing now. They have it listed by license plate, by the car, suspected ICE, highly suspected ICE, confirmed ICE, where their location is, and then they send their local rapid responders to go and obstruct law enforcement in these situations. Now, this is not okay. This is crossing the line. You're no longer peacefully protesting your government. You are now impeding your government with their congressionally authorized law enforcement responsibilities. And let's not forget something. These congressionally authorized law enforcement responsibilities, bipartisan congressionally authorized law enforcement responsibilities, because there was a time, yes, Democrats were on the side of this as well, going after people who are in this country illegally. I know that that's crazy to think about. So if this guy's part of this and he's doing this, then he's asking for trouble. And the fact that he's got a gun on him is only going to make the situation even worse. And that's the situation that we're talking about right now as we look into this. And this is the big story of the hour, brought to you by Dr. Mike Veneria, veneriadental.com. Go see him today for your perfect smile. VANARIA, veneriadental.com. 2 locations to serve you in Cinnaminson and Woodbury. Dr. Mike is going to give you the beautiful smile you deserve. As we are in this now cold winter of our discontent, make sure you have a beautiful, beautiful smile. So as we understand, there are multiple things can be true at the same time. And Governor Tim Walz is realizing he has a responsibility now to dial the freaking temperature down, okay? Dial this down. Because the things that are happening, like here's a deranged liberal screaming in the face of federal agents in Minneapolis. This is the kind of stuff that's happening. It's not okay. It's going to lead to more people getting killed. And Caroline Leavitt reiterated and said, President Trump doesn't want to see any American die on American streets. This is just wrong. But as long as this stuff keeps happening, you don't know what's going to happen. So Tim Walz and the mayor and local law enforcement have a responsibility to help dial this down. That is their responsibility. Take a watch at this.
Shoot us in the fucking face! Shoot me in the fucking head! Why don't you fucking shoot me in the fucking head? You cowards! You're fucking cowards! I'm right here! Fucking kill me!
See what I mean? So here's Kash Patel with Benny Johnson talking about this organized effort to get people to impede. And again, this has been confirmed by Fox News Digital, as reported in the New York Post. And here's the FBI director. Take a listen.
Okay, so this is breaking news. So you and the FBI and perhaps other intelligence agencies are fully aware of this coordinated effort to attack federal law enforcement, to impede them and potentially insurrect. And so there is now an open investigation into these chats and into this coordinated network.
Yeah,
because
what I can say
some of them are fleeing. Some of them are very scared now. You can see their chats. They're very, very worried now that they have been exposed.
Well, they should be. If they broke the law, you should be worried. It's that simple. If you didn't break the law, there's really nothing to worry about on that front. And so, we're going to continue, as I've said from day one, we will protect law enforcement. We will make sure they have the security and safety to do their jobs. We will also ensure that civilians have the ultimate protection of the First and Second Amendment. But it is my job to adjudicate the difference when there is a breaking of federal statute or state law in the furtherance of a crime or violence against law enforcement officers. And that's when we step in.
Okay, now that's very, very good. I want to put a graphic on the screen for you from the NRA. But before I do that, I want to tell you about our wonderful sponsor here of the podcast, because we are just week number 3. And I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for your subscribing, sharing the word, passing this along to your friends, to your family. Some haters out there. I get it. It's okay. Look, we're trying something new here. We're very excited. We're very proud of it. And as I was saying to somebody the other day, you get an hour of my absolute best, baby. You get my best. And you get that best every day from Dr. Mike Veneria. Because now at 2026, if you want a healthier smile and greater confidence and care you can trust, that's what you want. And that's what you'll get with Dr. Mike Veneria at Veneria Dental. With Dr. Mike, it's not about cost. It's about care. His compassion, his commitment to your health, that's his top priority. And for over 12 years in a row, Dr. Mike has been recognized by his peers as a master of complex dental treatments, okay? He's the expert in handling complex dental surgeries, dental procedures, dental implants. And my entire family goes to Dr. Mike. He gave Bridget a beautiful smile upgrade last year, and he has 2 locations for you in Cinnaminson and Woodbury. You deserve a beautiful smile. We all deserve a beautiful smile. There's nothing like it. So don't go to one of these pop-up chain dental offices out there. Go to the best. And that's my guy, Dr. Mike Veneria, veneriadental.com. He's the best, and you'll love everybody in his office and the music that they're playing. So get your free implant consultation today with Dr. Mike, veneriadental.com. All right, so looking at some of the YouTube chat, and appreciate you weighing in and chatting away right now. Mostly talking to each other, but I see that Kimmy is still the moderator. I assigned her that responsibility last week, and she is wearing it like Greg Bovino wears his jacket. We'll get into that in just a second. But here's that clip from the NRA. Here's that screenshot that I meant to share with you. This is what the NRA said. So Bill Easley said, if you approach law enforcement with a gun, there's a high likelihood they will be legally justified in shooting you. Don't do it. That's the United States Attorney Bill Easley, who has since walked that back, by the way. But the NRA saying this sentiment from the first assistant U.S. attorney for the Central District of California is dangerous and wrong. Responsible public voices should be awaiting a full investigation, not making a generalization and demonizing law-abiding citizens. So I was really happy to hear Kash Patel say that we are here to protect Americans' First and Second Amendment rights. I think the administration realizes that several people came out, jumped the gun, Bovino, Noem, some others jumping the gun and saying that, like, hey, if you bring a gun, like it's like duck hunter, like, no, not okay. So I was really glad to hear the FBI director make that point. We're going to protect your First and your Second Amendment rights. President doesn't want to see people dying on the streets. Tim Walz and these other buffoons have a responsibility to tone it down. But then you've got other idiots with their eyes on the White House, like the governor of New Jersey, Mikie Sherrill, who in the middle of this massive blizzard that has completely shut down New Jersey, by the way. I mean, like the whole state shut down. My kids are off from school today and sledding, for the record, and they're sledding. And just, it's great getting a puppy in the middle of winter, Jared. Very smart move, getting a puppy in December when you've got to walk that puppy in 8. Oh, it's fantastic. It's great. And there's just yellow snow everywhere. I made a great decision. I really did. Great decision.
Christmas puppies. Super smart. I was around before that. But...
God. Yeah. No, it was like December 23rd we got him. So Christmas puppy. Yeah. Smart.
Real smart.
And that is some yellow snow, my man.
Wait, think it through, Zeoli.
I didn't think this through. I didn't think it through. I know it. I know I didn't. And then I took out my rickety old snowblower. I posted this on social media. You can see it. This thing, I bought it on Amazon in 2012. It was on sale for like a flash sale for like $100. Never had to use it. Took it out over the weekend. It was broken, busted. It's electric.
This is the
I had to plug in
extension cord one. Yeah, that's that one.
17. Yeah, that's the one. I'm Clark Griswold. 17 extension cords plugging it in. The dog's trying to chew them. The kids are tripping over them. And the thing barely even blows any snow. Barely blows any snow. So it's a great weekend. A lot of fun.
I'm sorry, bro. I feel like a real investment is a snowblower investment. And I think that the non-electric one, it's time. Time for you.
No, I know. I agree. What will happen is I'll buy it. And then it won't snow again for 20 years. That'll be it. That'll be the end of it. I'll buy the Cadillac of snowblowers, gas powered with extra nuclear cell generators, and then it won't snow again for 20
exactly.
years.
Honestly, every time I've ever had a nice snowblower, like grandma's house or whatever, it never started, never worked because they never took care of it.
No,
it's never bailed me out
of
the situation. Nope.
Back to the shovel. So here's Mikie Sherrill taking a break from her staping, dealing with the middle of this major storm, to go on TV and talk to some podcasters about how she feels about everything that's happening. Take a watch.
This is about a basically Stasi-type force of secret police that wear masks, that are unidentifiable, that are unaccountable, that have leadership in the Trump administration blatantly lying about what's going on when the American people can see the videos about exactly what's happening. There is no police officer in the state of New Jersey that would act like that, because we have training that far surpasses any type of misconduct like that, or B, should anything untoward happen, the other agents with that police officer would stop that immediately, and that person would be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, which is exactly what needs to happen with these ICE agents in Minneapolis.
You don't know that. That is so irresponsible of you, Governor. That is completely irresponsible. The correct answer is, let's see the investigation. Let's see how this plays out. Let's look at all the angles, and then we'll make our determination. And if you do determine that the officer acted improperly and that was an unjustified shooting, then you deal with it that way. But for you to come out on TV hours after it happens, you are adding to the irresponsibility. And I'm so sick and tired of this. And, today that tubby Tim Walz, that Midwestern doofus, finally calls the president and realizes, you know what, maybe he does have to calm things down, because now that they know that there is a coordinated effort going on in Minneapolis to impede law enforcement, going on in Minnesota to impede law enforcement, now that it's been reported, now that the FBI is investigating it, the question is, what does Tim Walz know about it? So he calls the president and realizes maybe he's got to do something about this before more of his citizens die. More of his citizens are placed in harm's way. More of his citizens are encouraged to get in the face of law enforcement. Let's not forget, this governor was telling people to get in their faces. Okay, get in their faces. That's different from peacefully protesting and peacefully assembling to protest your government. There's a huge difference, and everybody knows that. You don't need a law degree to know that. You just need common freaking sense. And here's Tim Walz, of course, because you got to go to the Nazi playbook, with the craziest analogy that I've heard in a very, very long time, but not the craziest of today. No. Just the craziest by an elected official today. Take a listen.
Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota.
I mean, really? We're hiding kids in the attic and the floorboards in the basement in Minnesota now to save them from going to the concentration camps. Is that what it is? And you say this stuff and it's ridiculous and irresponsible, but then this guy goes on CNN, for example, and says really crazy stuff about how, we're not going there. They're not taking them to the yet. Listen to this.
I understand that, but they take people to Fort Snelling here, which literally was built as a concentration camp, and Alligator Alcatraz, which I think we can all agree is a concentration camp. not saying they're Dachau. I'm not saying they're putting people in ovens yet, but these are concentration camps.
Okay.
Yet? The best is Jake Tapper's reaction. He's like, okay, yeah, okay, all right, yeah. I
don't need to argue with you about that.
I even for CNN, this is whack job crazy. They're not putting them in ovens. ... Yet. I like his pink hat too, Jared. I'm shocked to have this coming from a male wearing a pink hat in this matter. It's really surprising, I think, to all of us.
His whole setup is like an AI made a protester, right? Like I need all of the books, I need all of the shirts with the statements behind me. Like, yeah, absolutely beautiful.
I need all the man bags behind me that have some sort of, I don't know, what is that, like a lucky rabbit foot up there?
Are these
I'm trying
all
to figure out what
NPR
that is.
totes, or like I don't know what's going on up there. Like that's all the years of public service, broadcast services. I don't know. Honestly,
$20 gets you a tote, and here it is on my collection, my NPR and my PBS tote right next to it, right there. That's right.
Hey,
and my Democracy Dies in Darkness Washington Post tote.
Yeah. He's going on TV. He's like, oh, I better put on the good hoodie for Jake Tapper. But I got my whistle and my good hoodie ready for prime time.
They're not putting him in ovens yet, Jake.
Jesus.
Yet. And yet somehow that man seems still a little bit more sane than this guy who looks exactly like something that came out of a Thomas Harris novel. Buffalo Bill reference. Watch this guy.
To any ICE agent that thinks they're going to come into my home,
God, who would go into your home?
Me and my family.
You don't have a family.
Be met with lethal force. I will.
There's
kill
no way
on
you.
Site, and I will shoot
God.
to kill if need be. ICE agents are not allowed in my home. If you come into my home to terrorize my family, I will see you as a threat, and I will kill you.
Good God, man.
Yes, you guys are terrorists. Bear in mind, I am very much armed, and will do what I need to do to protect my family. I stand against ICE. Any ICE agents that show
he also
to my
stands
home.
against. Can we just pause it for a second, Jared? He also stands against dental care, flossing, brushing, Sonicare, Dr. Mike Veneria. And if he does have a family, why do I think they're locked in a basement?
Honest to God, he said family, and I was like, oh, it must be his parents, right? That's not a wife and kids situation, is it? Right? Like that guy wasn't in a dating pool.
If they are, it's like that movie where the woman and the little boy were locked in a shed.
Room?
Room? You remember that room?
Stuck in a shed for whatever the kid's whole life. Oh my God.
Yeah, that poor kid. That was a true story. But like, if anything is like my family, which are chained to the floorboards in the basement next to a radiator, if you come in here, ICE, next to my meth collection and my meth stash.
Well, and that's what he's doing. He's like, I got to protect my family. You know how long it took me to create that dungeon? Like, I'm not going to let ICE show up and then just like free these people. My sister wives are not going to go free without a fight.
My sister wives, who are all chained together in the basement and trying to claw their way out of here, are going to have to claw their way out of here. Okay.
Absolutely.
We're not going to let
God
you
intended.
Release them.
Yes.
You and your battering rams are not saving my 8 children, my illegitimate children, anytime soon. But, you know, part of what's ratcheting up the tension is the fact that ICE agents are not getting a good night's sleep, and sleep is very critical. It's very important to you. And I'm going to play a clip from you of what some of the people are doing outside of hotel rooms in ICE. But as we continue on this, I just want to say, you know, nobody's chained up in my house. It's a very, very happy place, very happy home. And it's going to be even happier when the bathroom renovation project comes to an end, I think at the end of this week, because Emmons Roofing and Siding has been here all week working on it. And last week, too, the kitchen and bathroom remodeling division at Emmons is outstanding. But with all this snow, with all this ice, how is your roof doing? With Emmons, you get the best, and I mean the best, made in America shingle, the Owens Corning shingle made in Kearney, New Jersey. It doesn't get better than that. And it doesn't get better than Emmons because they are platinum certified. That's right. Platinum certified at Emmons Roofing and Siding. And what does that mean? That means that your roof will be covered. You will have a lifetime warranty on that roof, not just on the shingle, but also on the workmanship, the materials, and the workmanship as well. CertainTeed siding, made right here in South Jersey. They use that on homes. Windows, doors, made in America. Your home will not only have better protection and peace of mind, but will look beautiful from the curb, and you can relax on these crazy winter days and nights when the wind's whipping and you got pounds and pounds of ice on your roof, knowing you're going to be okay. Just reach out to Emmons for a free estimate and use the company that I have used for over 12 years, a company that I trust, and that's emmonsroofing.com. EMMONS, emmonsroofing.com. Make sure you tell them I sent you. They'll take great care of you, and they serve our entire region, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, and the Jersey Shore. There are a lot of roofing companies out there. There are a lot of crooks out there too. So go with an honest local company with an incredible reputation that I can vouch for after using them in 2 different homes over the course of 12 years. And that's Emmons, emmonsroofing.com. So you have these protesters and these agitators in Minnesota, right outside the Hilton Hotel, where ICE agents are apparently there sleeping. And they're there to disrupt their sleep. Now, this is just wrong because what you don't want are heavily armed federal agents who are not getting a good night's sleep. Because I'm cranky when I don't get a good night's sleep. I don't need to be dealing with protesters while I'm packing, and you've disrupted my sleep. Okay, this is what these agitators and these disruptors are doing. And you talk about making an already tense situation worse. You do it by taking away people's sleep. And I have no sympathy for these idiots. Look at this. Smashing windows, banging drums, playing music to try to keep these ICE agents up all night. This is just wrong. This is the kind of stuff that Tim Walz needs to put a stop to by getting the local police to go in there and arrest these people so they stop destroying public property. Please do this. But by the way, while this was happening and the hotel was under attack, and Jared, you found this clip. This guy who's out, he's getting his workout, man. He's not going to let this disrupt his workout. No way, right?
I love it. Same noise.
You see these protesters. There he is. He's on a treadmill.
He's like totally unfazed by it. Like doesn't even know that it's happening down there. By the way, looking out the window, it's not like you can claim you didn't know. No, can't skip leg day, bro. You gotta get back in there.
It's the second floor of the Homewood Suites by Hilton or whatever it is. And there's the exercise room, complimentary with your stay, of course, along with the free breakfast. And this guy's on his treadmill, just working out, looking front view of all the people out there on the streets protesting and trying to disrupt, by the way, his good night's sleep too. These jerks. Honestly, if that guy pulled out a water cannon and started shooting water at all those protesters who are freezing in 4-degree sub-zero temperatures, I would give that guy a medal. Be like, yeah, bravo, man. If I'm paying money to stay at that hotel and these idiots are disrupting my sleep, I have no sympathy for them. I want them to freeze. That's what I want. Yeah, water cannons, super soakers. I'll teach them a freaking lesson. Damn right. Jerks. So as we're talking about all this, it's good news that the president now speaking with the governor of Minnesota, obviously coming with his tail between his legs and realizing now that this is on him. He's got to do something. Okay. And there's other crazy people too, like Delia Ramirez, who went on an insane rant. I don't know if you know this or not, but it's not actually about arresting criminal, illegal aliens. It's not about that. It's actually about this.
It tells you everything you need to know about Pam Bondi, about Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth. They're authoritarians, and they're trying to take over this country, and they no longer think we need elections. And if they think they can have their voter rolls, if they think that they can attempt to disrupt our ability to have free and fair elections, that they will continue to have the lawlessness that you're seeing on the ground. It was never about immigrants. It was never about criminals. This is about terrorizing anyone that is willing to stand up for our Constitution, for the American people. They want your voter rolls. They want our voter rolls because they don't want to see free and fair elections anymore.
What? Why don't, if they wanted voter rolls, they'd just go get voter rolls. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, are you suggesting that maybe people who are here illegally are voting? Oh, wait a minute. You're not saying that, are you? Come on, Congresswoman, or whatever you are. Is she a member of Congress, Jared? I think she is, right?
She is. I think it was Illinois. Illinois 3rd. Fighting 3rd.
Heightened third. So basically, this is all a ruse for us to go in to get voter rolls, which are public information and can easily be accessed. But instead of just doing that, we'll just create all this chaos and calamity so nobody will see us going in and getting the public voter rolls. Is that my understanding that correctly?
Can't you just Google them? Can't you?
Pretty much.
Like you can see the number of voters and the like they have to you and I can go get the voter rolls for Minnesota. Like with a little bit of work today.
We could get them right now before the podcast ends if we wanted to.
Absolutely.
I have no interest in doing so, but we could theoretically get them if we wanted to.
Yes.
But would it be more fun though to have people getting shot and then cannons and tear gas and people on horseback and everything like this? This way you don't know that we're getting the publicly available information from the voting rolls, huh?
I love that it can't just be what it is. There has to be a bigger conspiracy. Oh, they're after something else. They're going to get it.
Which makes me think that maybe you think that there's a bigger conspiracy, like illegals are voting and on the voter rolls. But that sounds like something that might be a conspiracy now, doesn't it? I don't know. All I know is that this deer got stuck. And where did you find this clip for me? This is amazing. This poor guy.
Of course. Watch your head, buddy. Yeah.
Okay, so
like I said, brother, he has antlers,
if you're listening,
up, you know what I mean?
it's cops going through the window of a bank.
Oh my God.
Isn't that awesome?
Look at that deer. Dude.
And it is just...
He's got huge antlers.
Yeah, it's like a 6-point buck. I don't know. Or he's not small. And I mean, Rich, where do you even start trying to corral this poor guy? Like, you're the cop, you're on site. Like, I don't even know where you... And so these poor officers are walking through this bank.
Cop is very calm.
Yeah, well, 2 of them are like, it's not my problem.
Yeah, and then, I mean, the buck trashed the hell out of the bank. Cops are now holding the buck, and then they start, I think, giving him carrots or something because he calms down, and then they, walk him out.
They take him through the window again that he went out of.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to teach him, hey, next time, this is how you get out. Right through
look,
the bank
dummy,
window.
You got in through the window, you get out through the window, and then they get the buck out, and he runs away.
He runs into traffic,
and everybody's happy.
Every part of it.
Well,
I love every part of it. That whole video, start to finish, no notes.
The very end of it, you could see the deer runs out the window, literally towards the road, and there's a pickup truck going by. So it's like, I mean, the only way it would have been more perfect would have been if that deer runs by and that pickup truck just smashes him, because otherwise you're like, oh man, did we really just let the guy go towards a roadway? But thank God nobody was harmed in the incident. The deer got away. The truck didn't hit him. And for all we know now, he's making little baby bucks. Or maybe a hunter got him. You know what I mean? Maybe there was a guy waiting in a tree.
I'm sure that deer was so fatigued by the end of the day that he would have been easy pickings for somebody up waiting.
Probably right. No doubt about it. We appreciate you being here today. Very, very much. We do. And your comments on YouTube, we're watching them. And yeah, the bank has bucks, Chris Eppolito. Well done. The bank has bucks. Bum. I like that. And Minnie with her little deer emoticon thingies. So, and Julius May is still worried about the future of WPHC in Philadelphia. So it must be a day ending in Y. Yeah, I know. Now, if you're wondering about fashion, and I'm always wondering about fashion, today's casual Monday for me because it's a snow day. Sometimes I wear a jacket. Sometimes I wear a button-down shirt. Today I decided to do the quarter zip. I like the look of the quarter zip. Greg Bovino's jacket has caused a lot of people to be outraged by his jacket. Here's the Politico story about this. There's more to Greg Bovino's coat than you think. And then the article then goes on to say that, well, it's not Nazi regalia, it does send a message. And then if you read the article, which I did because I had just plenty of time on my hands with 3 children who were home from school, a puppy, and 18 pounds of ice to shovel from the driveway after the plow went by and put another 4 feet on top of that. It's always a favorite, right? You shovel your driveway and the plow goes by and then completely not only just seals in your driveway, but makes it so that you then need a team from the North Pole to dig your driveway out. It's always very, very helpful. We appreciate that. This past week, images of Greg Bovino, the commander of the U.S. Border Patrol, spread rapidly across social media as he appeared in Minneapolis, flanked by federal agents and shouting orders at protesters. Moving through snow-covered streets, Bovino wore an olive wool double-breasted overcoat with brass buttons and pointed applied cuffs. Online critics described it as a Nazi cosplay coat. California Governor Gavin Newsom's press account called it Nazi-coded. Yet, Politico concedes, while Bovino's coat shares visual similarities with certain Nazi uniforms, including the German M40 overcoat worn by certain officers, it belongs to a much broader lineage. The double-breasted closure, metal buttons, and ulster collar are hallmarks of a greatcoat, a 19th century form of outerwear worn by soldiers from many different nations. Members of the Allied forces, including British and American troops, wore that same coat during the Second World War. So Nazi, I guess, or Captain America. I'm not really sure where you're going with this now. I mean, maybe you should have buried that and not paragraph 2, because I'm all in. This guy with his Nazi cosplay, and then you get to the part where you're like, yeah, except the Allies wore that jacket in World War II, fighting the Nazis. Like, yeah, but buttons? I don't know, they had buttons too. Yeah, American troops wore greatcoats during the Second World War. So, there's that awkward. Awkward. I feel like, I don't know, Jared, if you're going to do a Nazi cosplay story, maybe fact check and find out if the Allied forces ever wore that exact jacket when fighting the Nazis. I'm going in, I'm giving free advice to Politico. I'm not a cosplay writer myself, so,
I will say, I don't think this coat is doing much to help him look taller, if I had to give him any tips.
Yeah, if we're going to move on from the Nazi cosplay, Jared, why don't we just get in on the fact that he's not a tall man to begin with, and as a not tall man, you got to go maybe like down to the waist, a little bit longer than the waist, and like stop right there, right?
Elongate, right?
Yeah, elongate, yeah. That jacket looks like something like he got it like Gap Kids or something. It's not a good look. It's not a Nazi look. It's a look of a man who's wearing a jacket that's just way too big for him. It's like he borrowed Abe Lincoln's coat and decided to go out in the snow with it. Or the time that I went to the Union League in Philadelphia and didn't have a jacket and realized they required one, and they gave me a jacket, which I think literally was Lincoln's jacket. I mean, it is the Union League after all. So me with my 5'7" frame with shoes on, 5'7", and standing on something, wearing that jacket, I look like Loesch from the Addams Family. I think it was Loesch, right? Who always was the one.
Loesch Addams.
Yeah. That's kind of what I look like. But
it's one of those things where if your coat looks like it might drag on the ground, it's not helping you look taller. That's all.
Also doesn't make you a Nazi, but it does make you a guy.
Doesn't make you a Nazi. Makes you short.
Doesn't make you. Yeah. Also doesn't make you look like one of the Allied forces that were, liberating Europe from the Nazis. Because
doesn't look like he's storming the beaches.
You're not.
Does not.
Fashion advice for Greg Bovino here on the Zeoli podcast, because we cover all the bases for you. And finally, I'll leave you with this. So I mentioned that New York City students struggled to sign in for virtual class after Mamdani said no to a snow day. This guy is such a commie jerk. And instead of giving the kids a day off so they could play in the snow and maybe make some money shoveling driveways and walkways, kids and parents who use the web browser Google Chrome to try to get into the Zoom classroom, according to the New York Post, were met with frustrating error messages blocking them from signing in. Others couldn't get on because their schools sent the students home with Chromebooks to use in virtual learning scenarios. They were scrambling to make it work. The issues should have been worked out by now, but they weren't. Roughly 400,000 students tried logging on remotely, according to the mayor. 1/5 of the students were absent, with the administration saying about 500,000 kids were scheduled to attend the remote learning day. Another parent who had bemoaned trying to get young kids to sit for hours on a Zoom session said it was pretty much what I expected. Hiccups and overall, basically a failure. So I just applaud the parents who had their kids call in sick today so that their kids did not have to be subjected to a day of indoctrination by Mayor Mamdani's schools, and they could actually just have, a nice day and just have some fun and be kids, because kids deserve a freaking snow day, you commie totalitarian bastard. All right, that's the show. Thanks so much for being part of it. We appreciate it. We'll be back with you tomorrow for another live edition. Please subscribe to the Rich Zeoli podcast on Apple, on Spotify, and yes, of course, right here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your family, and thank you for listening. Have a great day.
Let's go.